Ruslan.
In terms of comeback and beyond, how to turn your setbacks into comebacks, you've accomplished incredible things. On your interview with Grant Cardone, you got vulnerable and you talked about having gone through a divorce. And there's folks watching this that have gone through similar things, lost their families, and had some massive setbacks. Can you talk about just how you were able to come back from that? How was that? How was all that? And for the folks in here that maybe have gone through a divorce and maybe they're carrying that shame, maybe they're carrying that guilt, and they're followers of Jesus. Just talk about that.
Yeah, so that was a tough one because of the way I was raised. I was raised in a charismatic Pentecostal church, and the person that I married is phenomenal. She became a college professor, went to USC, got her master's at Biola University. Her dad had 2 doctorates and was a aide to both President Bush's on urban affairs. So to go to this man and say, can I have your daughter's hand in marriage? And he liked me, respected me. And then 3 years into the marriage, it's like, man, we're like 2 human beings that are completely different. And then it lasted 8 more years, but it lasted 8 more very long years.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really connect on so many levels. And people say, well, did you continue to try? Yeah. We saw probably 2 of the best Christian marriage counselors in America. They're known for this. And we saw them for 3 years. And so it did not work. And that was a terrible thing because, for me, my father had died when I was 10. And so I looked to this man that I saw as my father-in-law as a father figure, and to feel like I had let him down, I'd let my kids down, I'd let all these mega churches that had brought me in for all these years. Yeah, it was a terrible time. Yeah. But through amazing counselors, a lady named Dr. Helen Mendez, who taught at USC, African-American lady, spirit-filled Christian, man, she changed my life. And just taught me about grace, taught me about how grace fills in the gaps, and about how to make the right choices, even in the midst of difficult times. So I would say it took me a long time to get through and get over.
Yeah.
Did it affect my children? I'd say no doubt about it. Did it affect me? No doubt about it. Were people gracious to me? Yes. So I had the opposite of what most people get.
Yeah.
Most people get like the hateration.
Yeah.
I got a lot of hugging.
Wow.
And I asked a lady named Marilyn Hickey, who's like, she was like a big deal in like her day, and she's still a big deal. She's like 80 years of age, but she was like before Joyce Myers. And she says the reason people are treating you great is because you treat people great. So you're reaping what you sow. So the body of Christ has been very kind to me. People have been kind to me, but I wasn't so kind to myself because I didn't like taking that L.
Yeah. Well, you said you guys were married a total of a decade, 11 years. Did I follow that correctly, the timeline?
Yeah. 11 years. And you had 2 virgins coming in.
Oh, so wow.
We were living the life. So I was a 25-year-old virgin. She was 22 years of age. So I had never drank alcohol. I'd never smoked weed. I was like trying to live the life. And so that's the thing that I think probably helped me. I think a lot of my friends think I'm a better person since I've fallen on my butt a few times. And I really think it's true. Because I learned what the view was like from down here.
Wow.
That view, I felt like, blind Bartimaeus, like he was sitting by the roadside.
Yeah.
And, because I had been elevated for a while. I was good in sports.
Yeah.
But being good in sports and having charisma elevated me. And then I got elevated in the church world. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody who is getting more invitations to speak than me. Not one person.
Yeah.
And so, no, I mean, to be like blind Bartimaeus sitting by the roadside, actually kick my butt but it's probably been the best thing that ever happened to me. I wish I didn't have to go through a divorce or other things.
Yeah.
But I learned from my challenge.
Thank you for being so vulnerable about that, Tim. I think that is, we talked about having grace and mercy on other people, and then I think you saying you needed to have grace and mercy on yourself. Do you think it was also because you really went, you said you guys went and saw a marriage counselor for 3 years and you really did your best to not let it happen? Do you think that that is maybe why people were also like, maybe they knew that, hey, Tim's a stand-up guy, he's going to pour himself into this until there, he's going to fight for this until there's nothing left to fight for?
Yeah, and again, people treated me great, like the biggest guys in the church world, like the Brian Houstons and all those guys. They all treated me great, and everybody was cool with me. But what happens to many of us when we fail is we beat ourselves up, and we sit in our setback, and we settle in our setback, and we cement ourselves in our setback. So I remember when I started working with Robert Downey Jr. in 1999, he said to me, Tim, just help my life just be okay, because he was struggling. And I said, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not good at just doing okay. So I knew that I was not going to live in the land of okay my whole life. I just knew that I was living in the land of okay then.
Wow.
But, to think of what God is doing in my life now with the best-selling book, that's great stuff, man. To have a charismatic amongst the humans.
Come on. Let's talk about the miracle mentality. Just share. I've heard you talk about it. Some of the interviews around it. We've talked about the comeback and the comeback that you have and the comeback that's available for us. Talk about the miracle mentality and just your heart behind that.
The miracle mentality is, the reality is I started to interview people for like 10 years, and I found out that probably like 85% of the people that I interviewed believed in miracles. Well, what's a miracle? It's something uncommon, not regular, not normal, not the status quo. And so people believe in miracles. Little kids believe in miracles. You could ask them when they're 5 or 6, what do you want to be? An astronaut. What do you want to be? A policeman, a doctor, a ballerina, a princess. And so I believe that many times when life interruptions hit you, whether it be your parents' divorce, or maybe you were molested as a kid, or you got sick as a kid, or something happens to you that jacks with your miracle mentality and minimizes you. So this book is about how to get you back to the place of innocence. And the reason I believe it's doing so well, and it's doing so well, on Clubhouse, my friend Grant Cardone threw a party for me. And we broke a record. In one night, we sold 21,000 of these.
Wow.
21,000 in one night on Clubhouse. And so many people are buying 1,000 at a time for their companies. One guy I just talked to the other day, he wants to buy 30,000. Now, why is that happening? Who wants to be minimized in their life? So this is essential reading about how to believe in miracles, expect them, receive them, become one, and then release them. And what you're about is you're a miracle releaser. I mean, you got to understand how busy I am. And dude, I was like on you. When I saw you, I told my son, I go, watch this guy. And my son's uber creative. He went to LA film and recording school, and he's met everybody. And I went like, okay, cool. Look at this guy. And I'm like, man, this guy, man, I like the way he's thinking, and he's bringing God talk up, but he's not scaring people away. And so I'm loving what you're about. Someday we might collaborate, because I think you're headed into just some amazing places, spaces that, are beyond even these big festivals you're doing in the podcast. I mean, you may move into Broadway plays and film and documentaries. I mean, come on, just you're exploding. It's fun to watch.
I appreciate that. And what I like about when you talk about the miracle mentality, I think about classical apologetics and the approach of classical apologetics, which goes, God is real, therefore miracles can be real. Therefore, Jesus rose from the grave, which is the ultimate miracle. And then you kind of reverse engineer everything else there, right? And so I think it's a very strategic way for you to create kind of an on-ramp for people to go into some of the deeper things of following Jesus, which is, hey, we all want a miracle mentality. I believe Jesus makes us better at life when we live his way, and then also makes life better. You know, and I think sometimes we want one or the other. It's just like, I'm gonna follow Jesus and by discipline be better at life, or Jesus, just make my life better. I don't want to do anything about it, right? And it sounds like you're kind of saying, yeah. It sounds like you're kind of bridging those two ideas, right? Where there's a mentality that we need to operate in as children of God, and then and maybe as people who don't fully know Jesus, but then once they meet Jesus, then they also will have a better experience because Jesus ultimately makes us better at life.
You said it perfect, because what it is that if we do not have a miracle mentality, we're just acting very regular. And so God never called us to be regular. At utmost, God did not create almost children. And
Come on, hold on. You got to run that back. You're full of these one-liners, Tim, but that one, I need you to run that back. So
when you hear all these guys that you mentioned earlier and all the others that quote all the Tim Storey sayings, now you get to hear them firsthand. An utmost, God did not create almost children. So the whole thing is that God does not want you to be almost. I almost made it. I almost did it. I almost broke through. No. Utmost God wants you to connect to his utmost power. So the miracle mentality is putting God's super on your natural that makes your life supernatural. And again, I got to come back to you that somehow, some way, in some brokenness, you've allowed God's super to hit your natural, to where you got a creative like me to go like this. Like people say, how did you get into the life of Quincy Jones? I've been best friends with Quincy Jones 25 years.
Wow.
And for the young people that don't get this, then you just don't get it. This is not like, oh, he's super close to the Migos, or he's super close to the baby. No, that's not what I'm saying. Quincy Jones, meeting with Quincy Jones monthly in his Bel Air mansion and dialoguing about things like this, and praying with him, and talking shop, and him calling me the voice of inspiration to this generation. You know, that's about the supernatural. One day I came in his house and he goes, this is crazy. He goes, I'm not even joking. He says, I was turning this way and I felt you come up the steps.
Wow.
Why is that? Because I walk in the supernatural. I'm not walking like a normal human.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Hey, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you found it valuable, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. You can check out one of the other videos related to this that'll be over here. Now, I gotta tell you about a free training I have for anyone that is an entrepreneur, a creative, an artist, but maybe you are unsure on how to find your voice, how to find your niche. I have a free training in the description of this video. Check it out. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next video.